everyone. Today we're going to be reviewing and trying out the IT cosmetic brush set for ULTA. This is called your must-have airbrush travel set. This retails for $19.50, and basically it comes with 3 different brushes: a foundation brush, powder brush, and a shadow brush. And today we're going to be getting ready together. We're going to be testing out each and every one of these brushes, and we're just going to see what they're all about, if it actually is worth picking up. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Everything will be linked down below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's dive on in and try these out. So I've already prepped my skin for today's video. I have everything I use linked down below in the description box. But basically our brush set looks like this. It is cruelty free, and on the back of the packaging sleeve it does have a photo, the name of the brush, and a brief description on each of the brushes that you're receiving in this brush set collection and ways on how to use them, which I love that they did that, just because if you're new to using makeup brushes, you're not familiar using makeup brushes, this is a really nice guide that will maximize, ways on you to use this travel set, which I love. In case you didn't know, you do receive a foundation brush, a powder brush, and a shadow brush. So once you remove the sleeve, this is basically it. It's pretty small, to be really honest. Once you remove the second little sleeve that secures your brush set into place, each of your brushes are nicely secure in a little band, kind of like little pouch thing. I don't know how to describe it, but they're basically secure in place, which I love. So you don't have to worry about potentially losing them and for them to kind of be flying all around. As for the handles, it does feel like it's made out of plastic, but also on the handle, it does have the name of each of the brushes on the handle, which I love because it's a really good guide for you in case you forget what this brush is meant for, what it's called. It kind of gives you a guide, so I love that. As for the brushes, it does feel really nice and soft and fluffy. I'm really impressed with the amount of bristles that they have so far. You guys are here on my channel. If you watch a few of my review videos on brush sets, I'm really particular. I like something with, with a good amount of bristles to it, just because I feel like there's a significant difference on the finish of your makeup when brushes have a little bit more bristles and they're a little bit soft at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, but I just know when I see one. As for a powder brush, I feel like this is perfect to apply on powder, banana powder, contour, bronze. It just depends on your personal preference, but I love how fluffy it is. As for the shadow brush, you can obviously use it to apply on shadow, blend out your eyeshadow, spot conceal, blend out the concealer, just depending on your personal preference. I also want to mention that each and every single one of these brushes were individually sealed. I obviously removed them prior to filming this video because I didn't want the sound to be distracting. So I did want to share that with you in case you were interested or that even mattered to you. For today's video, we're going to dive on into our foundation brush, which, by the way, I've never used a foundation brush like this one, like a flat one like this. I've always used a brush kind of that's a little bit more dense, more compact with bristles like this one. This is one of my all-time favorite foundation brushes. This one's from IT Cosmetics, and this is called the Airbrush Complexion brush, the 115 brush. And as you guys can tell, it is very different from one another. So we're definitely going out of our comfort zone, trying something new for today's video, which I'm really excited. And the foundation that I'm going to use for today, it is the Maybelline Fit Me. This is a matte poreless foundation in the shade 230 Natural Buff. So I've already applied on a little bit of foundation on the back of my hand. I'm going to go in with my foundation brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply it on mainly on the top of my cheekbones, because that's mainly where I have my hyperpigmentation and where I need the most coverage. And then anything that I have left over, I'm just going to go ahead and apply it, lightly pat it throughout the rest of my face, dabbing it in and doing the best that I can to blend out this foundation. I finished blending out my foundation using the foundation brush, and so far it wasn't so bad. I felt like it was going to take forever for me to blend out my foundation, but it was really, really easy. I like the finish so far, and I actually want to try blending out my concealer with this foundation brush just for the heck of it. I'm not really sure how it's going to work out, but I figured, you know what? Why not? Maybe this can be a brush that you can use as well to blend out your concealer in case you don't want to bring a sponge with you. So I'm going to go in with my Makeup Forever. This is the Matte Velvet Skin Foundation, and this is in shade 2.6. I will have it linked down below. And I'm going to go in and lightly apply on a little bit of concealer, or at least lightly, what I feel is lightly. And then I'm going to go in with my foundation brush and then blend out the concealer that I've applied on throughout my face. I'm going to use the other side of my foundation brush, and then I'm just going to go ahead and blend it out and see, how it turns out. So I finished blending out my concealer, and so far I really love the coverage. The finish is pretty good. So if you're definitely in a pickle and this is the only brush you have, you can definitely use this to blend out your foundation and concealer. So far I feel like it looks pretty good. So we're gonna move on to our face powder, and we're gonna use our face powder today to obviously apply it on powder, but we're also gonna use it to apply on banana powder on the areas where I've applied concealer, and we're also gonna use this to bronze up the face, which you guys know here on my channel I love to do. I love to contour and bronze. That's one of my 2 favorite things. So we're just gonna see and test this brush and see, you know, if there's a difference in the finish. But let me give you an up close clip so you can see how my foundation is currently looking, how my concealer is currently looking, just in case you wanna know and get an up close clip for yourself. So we're gonna start off with our powder. This one is from MAC. This is a MAC Studio Fix face powder, which is one of my all-time favorites. This is in the shade C4, and I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my brush, dab my brush into my powder, and then we're just gonna go ahead and apply it on the areas where we have foundation to set everything into place. So I've already set my makeup into place on the areas where I've applied on a foundation with our face powder. Now I'm gonna go in with Makeup Revolutions. This is the banana powder. It's scented like banana. It's so good. I will have it linked down below. But basically we're gonna go in with the same brush, pick up a little bit of the loose banana powder, and then we're just gonna go ahead and set the areas where we've applied on concealer. So I have finished setting everything into place. We're gonna move on to bronzer, and I'm gonna go in with my powder brush. I'm gonna go into the I Heart Revolution Coffee Bronzer in the shade Latte. I'm not sure if this is still available. If it is, I will have it linked down below. But right now, pretty tan, and this seems like the perfect kind of bronzer for me to use. I feel like it's worked really well for me lately. So I'm gonna go ahead and dab on my powder brush into this palette. I'm gonna go in and apply on this bronzer. And I typically like to bronze around the forehead, cheekbone, and jawline area, and then drag anything that I have left over down the neckline. And just because I want everything to look really blended and seamless, and I don't want it to look like I'm all bronzed up on top and nothing is going on, you know, in the bottom. So I just finished blending out and applying on my bronzer using our powder brush, and so far I feel like my skin is looking really good. I don't know how it's gonna look on camera. If it looks a little patchy, I am so sorry. That's my fault for not blending really well. But so far I feel like my skin is looking really good. I definitely really like this brush. It's really nice and fluffy. It blended everything fairly well. And so far, so good. I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing a little bit of my makeup off camera, but I'll come back on so we can use our last brush, which is our shadow brush. So I just finished priming my eyes. I went in with the Juvia's Place Eye Prime Eyeshadow Primer in the shade 2. We're gonna go ahead and finish up on our eyes, and I'm gonna go in with the KK Beauty Eyeshadow Palette. I think this is discontinued, but if it's not available, I'm sure you have something really similar to this in your own eyeshadow collection, just because it's like your neutrals. And so I'm gonna go into this color right in here, this really pretty cream eyeshadow, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply it all around the lid to set our primer into place. So then we're gonna go into Suede, this really pretty light brown eyeshadow shade, and then we're just gonna apply it within the crease of the lid, doing windshield wiper motions. Go into Dune, this really dark chocolate brown eyeshadow, and then we're just gonna go ahead and apply it in the corner of the eye, kind of doing like a slight angle, and then blending it in to the crease of the lid. And then whatever we have left over on our shadow brush, we're just gonna go ahead and smoke out the bottom lash line area, connecting it to the corner of the eye, and doing our best to, you know, blend out the edges so it doesn't look so obvious and there isn't any harsh lines. And then we can also go in with our face powder brush, and if you really want to, you can kind of blend out the edges and do your best to really get close to under the lash line to smoke out the bottom lash line. It's a little tricky. Obviously, we went in with bronzer, and the brush is really powdery and really full. Like, it's really, you know, it's a big brush. But I feel like it's a little tricky to blend out the eyeshadow using this brush just because it's really dense. It's not very fluffy, and I feel like it's perfect to pack on color, but to blend out the edges of your eyeshadow, it's a little tricky and I'm not used to it, so that's the only thing. I just finished getting ready. Now let's go ahead and dive on in and talk about these brushes and wrap up today's video. So I do like the case of it. I really love that it's small, compact, it's really lightweight. I love the fact that it has individual sleeves for each and every one of these brushes. I'm not a huge fan that it is black because essentially you're gonna see it get really dirty really quickly, but overall, you know, it's cute. I like it. As for the material, it does feel like it's made out of cotton or some sort sort of nylon, but it's pretty soft and I so far really like it. As for the handle of these brushes, I honestly thought they were going to be a little longer just because I find it to be so mini, but overall I personally really like it, and I love that on the handle it does have the name of the brush in case you need a guide or you're not really sure how to use these brushes. Overall, I love how full these brushes are of bristles. I feel like they did a really great job in creating these. I loved the foundation brush. It blended out my foundation really well. Same thing with my concealer. I love the size. It's not too big, not too small, that it did a really good job in blending everything out, especially my concealer. As for the powder brush, I personally really liked it. It's really full and fluffy. I was able to apply on my powder effortlessly. Same thing with the banana powder. It was a little tricky when I was applying on banana powder under the eye area, but overall I did a pretty good job. Same thing with bronzing up the face. I feel like it did a really good job doing that. I so far really like how my skin turned out, how my base turned out, my skin. And as for this shadow brush, to be honest, I think out of all three brushes, the shadow brush was not my favorite, just because I wish they would have added a blending brush instead, just because I feel like this is a perfect brush to pack on color, but it, like, even to smoke at the bottom lash, but to blend everything out, it was so tricky, at least for me, that as you guys saw, I went in with a powder brush to blend out the edges because I felt just so desperate. I didn't know what to do. So that is the only thing. I think this travel set is really specific. I think if you personally like to travel, you travel a lot, maybe for work, and you don't do a full face, you just, keep it really light and very natural, I think this would be perfect for you. Or if you're someone who has always wanted to try cosmetic brushes, but you don't want to pay full price for a brush, this is a really great introduction, gives you a little taste of what it's like. But overall, I don't know, I think this is really specific. You either going to really like it or you're really gonna hate it. So I don't know, you guys. Comment down below on your thoughts. I'm really curious. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever, comment down below, ask away. I'm always here to help. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Everything will be linked down below. And I will see you all in my next video. I love you all so much. Bye!